Our first guest, I'm very excited to have back to the show. Our guest was one of the first Justice Democrats. She ran for Senate in West Virginia, challenging Joe Manchin. She won the Democratic Party primary in 2019. She is a committed activist fighting against corruption. We are proud to be one of the first people to ever interview her. We did on this show. Today, she is here with some exciting news to tell you about. She is Paula Jean Swearengin. Paula Jean, so good to see you. Thanks for coming back on the show. I think it's fantastic. We have a wonderful lady here, Paula Jean. Now, Paula Jean has a goddamn announcement. She's leaving the Democratic Party. She's joining the People's Party. Now, tell everybody why you're doing that.
Well, I'm really surprised I haven't done it before. It goes back, well, you know, West Virginia has been a Democratic state for a long time. Mm-hmm. And everybody really knows my struggle, struggle as a single mom, born a coal miner's daughter and granddaughter. A lot of people here don't have access to clean water. I've buried a lot of my family members and friends not only because of our zip code, but because my family worked in the industry. And back in the 1990s, we had a gubernatorial race, and there's this lady named Charlotte Pritt. She actually beat Joe Manchin in a primary in a gubernatorial race. And the Democratic Party and Joe Manchin actually formulated a campaign against her and supported the Republican. It was Democrats for Underwood. We've had our current governor. He was a Republican. He's one of the richest coal barons in West Virginia. He's the richest man in West Virginia, actually. And he owes unpaid mine fines in Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and West Virginia, as well as he has unpaid taxes. Joe Manchin recruited him, campaigned for him, helped him get elected. The Democrats got behind him. After he got elected, he changed his party affiliation back to Republican. And it's just these things are over and over. Larry Puccio used to be the former chair of the West Virginia Party. Belinda Beafor is the chair of the party now. And she's rumored to be Joe Manchin's first cousin. So it's deeply entrenched with corruption here, the party's been. And when I ran for office in 2018, I was treated with utter disrespect. I went to a West Virginia Federation Democratic Women's meeting. They wouldn't even say my name when they announced me. What? Well, the U.S. Senate candidate come up. And, I was told, well, we don't show biases in a primary, but we'll support you in a general. Well, that really didn't happen. Joe Manchin didn't even come out. It was a U.S. Senate race, and they didn't even push for a debate against the Republican, which my Republican opponent was Shelley Moore Capito, and her and Joe Manchin are good friends. And it's gotten to the point that I really feel like unless we build a new national People's Party, nothing is really going to change. We've seen many people have good intent, get elected from a local level to a federal level. They get infiltrated. Shelley Moore Capito and Joe Manchin are funded by the same funders, the same dark funders. And these people, when they get into office, they pressure them. They become corporate. They don't push for the policies like a living wage, Medicare for all. I'm just sick of it. And, I've been in this movement for almost 20 years. I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother now. I'm tired of fighting the people that are supposed to align with me. And it's time for all of us to unite and stand together. As long as we fight these people, we're going to continue to struggle. And there's no unity within the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. It's time for us to build our own national party. And I fully believe in that.
Well, I couldn't endorse what you just said more. I really do. Of course, we need a third party. If we keep doing what we've done, we finally got Trump. And now we got the worst version of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. And we're going backwards. This is going backwards. And so I just want to show people that AOC's PAC donated over $100,000 in leftist cash to right-wing Democrat incumbents ahead of the 2022 Democratic primary election. So what this means is that AOC is taking money that you give to AOC, which she thinks she's going to go fight for Medicare for all and student loan forgiveness and living wage and the wars. That's what you think is going to happen. She takes that money you give to her and her PAC, and she gives it to people who are against all that stuff. So if somebody tries to primary them from the left, she's giving them the money to fight back against lefties. That's what she's doing. And here's what Paula Jean said. She says, this is not what we supported when we started. Pretty sure AOC is batting for what the party wanted her to do, not what will help to pass the policies we need. I'm highly disappointed with my colleague, and I won't align myself with her anymore. So was that the final straw for you? I mean, what happened to the Justice Democrats, and how could they stay silent about AOC using her supporters' donations to bankroll right-wing Democrats?
Well, that was part of where I got there, but I think the final straw with me and the party is we had a racist implosion with our Democratic Executive Committee, and because of COVID, it was actually in front of the public. With these things have been going on with the party for a while, and Belinda Beafor, after public outcry, had been asked to step down. The National Party didn't do anything about it. And things like this, we had high hopes, and, we were told you fight within, and once you get there, you can be a real fighter. And old ladies give up their lunches to help us get elected. And all of us worked hard, not only the slate mates that AOC had, but the people behind the scenes. We have sacrificed our lives to run for office. If I was in the Senate right now, I'd be getting arrested on the Senate floor. She doesn't have to work with these people. She has enough political expediency that she could go on Twitter right now and she could be at that Medicare for All rally on Saturday. She could still be fighting for Medicare for All. I've only heard one time this year she even mentioned Medicare for All, and that's not acceptable. We don't need any heroes anymore. We need actual public servants. And she's been painted the progressive baby, and I'm highly disappointed that she sold out. Us as voters, constituents, people that are actually struggling in this movement, like myself, that have worked minimum wage jobs and hours upon hours, fighting for my family and my community, and then fighting real hard to get people like AOC elected, just to go and even stump for Nancy Pelosi, and they don't care if we live or die. First, she talked about West Virginia a little bit, and then, I thought, despite the problems with Justice Democrats and everything else, that she would actually do the work, but she's not now. The longer she's there, the less she goes, more right instead of left. And the whole system, I think, is strategically designed to make sure that we're divided and we're working against each other, and the people don't have true representation. And let's talk about Justice Democrats. We all run as a slate. We all were recruited by Brandon Congress. We're going to build this beautiful thing. You were there. You interviewed me. And then after AOC got elected, the leaders of Brandon Congress, they went and split the pack with Justice Democrats. And there was people like Ro Khanna that was photo opting with Joe Manchin and recruiting against the people that we were supposed to align with and endorsing corporatists. And AOC was actually on the board with Justice Democrats. And then after she got elected, she created this big story that we were all recruited by Justice Democrats. And that simply was not true. And so she came out of the gate lying. And also she pissed on her colleagues in the meantime, because they were putting all their stock in AOC, all their money into AOC. They were candidates that went in debt. We were all struggling, and we were left behind. And now we can't even call her. She's not available to us after we helped her get elected. And that's no different than that's no different than Joe Manchin, Shelley Moore Capito in West Virginia. We have to get arrested in their offices to be heard. And now people that actually align with AOC, we don't even get as much as a phone call. And that hurts this whole movement. And that's why we need a new party. I think she had good intent, but now she's there and she's giving money to the people that we promised to fight the most.
That's unforgivable. I can't believe that. And so when you're saying that you don't get a return phone call if you call AOC, even though you worked for her, you helped her get her elected, you were in the movie with her, but she doesn't return your phone calls, because that's what
a number for AOC now. My team in 2020, she gave from her PAC, she gave my campaign money a week before the general. which was nice, but she didn't even speak out for the candidates that she's supposed to. With brand new Congress this last cycle, we had signed a pledge that we would not endorse other candidates against each other, and she endorsed against one of our slate mates. Just because she's popular doesn't mean she's a public representative. If she's going to lie to get there, and she's lying to her constituency now and lying to the American people, she's not the progressive baby that we thought she was.
Wow. Wow. So,
and I mean, I mean, as a person, I like AOC, but I'm wondering what's going on, especially, things were screwy before she got there, but since she's gotten there, she won't even give the rest of us the time of day. Now, if we were to get elected, she might, as a Democrat, she might, give us the time of day, but she doesn't talk to any of us anymore.
Yeah, I know that
the people. It's about us. It's about everybody in America. Those kinds of things happening. Representatives getting there and actually not representing. And we do not need heroes. We need public servants.
Now, Paula, what do you think about the DSA? Because it's been revealed in the last, certainly through Force to Vote, and now through the Medicare for All marches, that the DSA, the members of the DSA, I think, are good people, and they have their right intentions, and they're being misled by the DSA's there's just nothing but a Democratic sheep herding organization that will never actually oppose the Democratic Party in any real way, and they'll never try to put a hurt on the Democratic Party. They are 100%. The leadership of the DSA is 100% sheepdogging, corrupted, infiltrating organization for the Democratic Party. What do you say to that?
Well, I've really not invested enough to look into the Democratic Socialists, but here's the problem. I said for a while, do not donate to anybody but candidates and make sure they get that money. But I'm saying now, I'm finally found a place that I can believe in, and I fully believe in building a new party. Because I've been in this long enough. I've been in politics, and I never wanted to be a politician for 4 years. These political operatives, they formulate these PACs. They put money in it for themselves to get high salaries. They do not invest in these campaigns like they should. And all these groups, a lot of these groups are infiltrated by the establishment, and they're not really working to actually get people elected. And that's why I said for a long time, I'm not dismissing the idea of maybe one day I'll run for office, but I am not going to take an old lady's $5 lunch and send it to somebody else so they can get rich off our backs. And that's what's happening with a lot of these organizations. And I think that's also why it's vitally important to build a new national party, a place of integrity, and something that we can believe in. I've heard the rumors that the Movement for the People's Party's had some problems, but I would rather have people that make honest mistakes instead of people being pre-positioned in my demise or blatantly lie to people, especially when they're taking poor people's money and they're giving it to people that don't need the money, and they're just infiltrating the whole movement of us just trying to fight for our lives.
I like what you said when you tweeted out. You said, I'm leaving the Democrats. I can't support racism or them ignoring Appalachian children dying and suffering. The DNC has ignored it too. I won't. I'll be announcing my next step soon, and it's joining the People's Party. And you say our systems are broken. We can't rebuild a two-party system with division and hate. It seems like that's all the Democrats have. Anybody, even people who call themselves progressives now, it seems like they're all wrapped up in hatred of the Republicans and Donald Trump and his supporters and the people who support him. And they're focused on that. They want to focus on things like January 6th and their hatred of the other. And I think the People's Party is focused on organizing around populist ideas that unite the populist left and the populist right, like the people who are for ending the wars, the people who are for a $15 minimum wage, the people who are for Medicare single payer healthcare system. I think that we can organize around those issues, right? What do you think?
Absolutely. And the thing is, there is no rebuilding the division and the hate. And I really don't like the labels. I called myself a progressive because to me it meant progress. Mm-hmm. But in 2018, we had our Republican attorney general that was running for office. He said he had a grassroots progressive campaign. Joe Manchin said he had a grassroots progressive campaign. Richard Ojeda, he was changing his mind with the wind, had a grassroots progressive campaign. And people were following that and believing in it. And that's where it's vitally important. I kept on saying to vet your candidates, but I mean, I'm done. I'm done with all that corruption. I'm actually relieved. I feel liberated to actually get back to my organizational roots and build something that we can actually believe in, and there's accountability, and we can hold each other responsible. But again, we cannot hold anybody responsible that is predispositioned in their demise. And that's the whole problem with the two-party system. It's going to be corrupt. We can fight within, but that's the harder they're going to fight for the people that they're supposed to serve.
And so, just in closing, what do you think happened to the Justice Democrats? Why do you think they don't strategize and vote as a block like the Tea Party did? Because they have all the power. They could block any bill and every bill if they wanted to get their demands met, yet they won't do it. Why do you think that is? I say it's because they're corrupt, because they get the speaking fees, they got book deals. They don't want Nancy Pelosi to fund somebody who's going to primary them, and then all they have to do is stay 5 years, and they get retirement for the rest. They get a pension for the rest of their life. So they're doing this for their own person. So that's corrupt. That's the definition of corrupt, in fact, that they're being dishonest for their own personal gain. Is that what you think happened?
I think it is personal gain. Shoycott Party and Corbin Trent were trying to formulate another PAC, and let's get another AOC elected in West Virginia, and I wouldn't support that. I think they just follow the money and they follow the buzz, and it really wasn't intended to elect real public servants. I think that AOC is friends with those folks way back, and I think they used us to make sure that AOC got elected. Even before, they were pulling out of our campaigns. They promised all these services, and right toward the end, before AOC's primary, they were taking everything away from us, and they were vesting everything in her. And I think the first intent was to get AOC elected. And to be honest with you, I don't think the Democratic Party would have let her through the gate. She pretended to be an ordinary person. She never told us that she worked for the Kennedys. Her mother, in an interview, said that she wanted to be president one day. She had decided she wanted in politics, and she laid the framework of acting like she was one of us. When you had real struggling people, not only the candidates, but people behind the scenes that really believed that we could get real public servants elected. And then now she's just doing what she lied about. I think she lied to get there, and I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. But now I think we have suffered a lot of losses in this movement. I'm stubborn, but I'm also a mother and grandmother. I cut my leg off for my kids. I'm not done. I'm not giving up, but I'm not going to invest in people anymore that are not going to actually do some good, honest work and making sure that we have a government that serves us. And it's going to take an overhaul, and it's going to take a new national party. And I hope everybody listens to what I'm saying. I've been there. I've been into the internal grind work, and I know how dishonest these people are. It's beat me down, but it's going to pick me back up, and nobody should feel beat down right now. We can build a new party, and we can build a government that serves us, and we can get actual people servants elected. But we've got to quit putting everything behind these dishonest people and fighting people that are designed to fight us.
Well, 62% of Americans are in favor of a third party. That's unbelievable. And anybody who says that it's a bad idea when 62% of the Americans want it, and the two-party system is obviously only working for the oligarchs, that's just misguided.
I don't even want to call it a third party. I want a new national party.
Yeah.
I want new language. I don't, we don't need any more dividing labels. We need a new national party. And we need to work from the ground up to create it and make sure that people are actually represented moving forward.
Okay. Paula Jean Swearingen, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
And her big announcement is she has joined the People's Party. There it is. And there's the tweet where you announced it. I'm joining the People's Party. Two-party systems are gatekeepers who work for the corporations, and they don't let the rest of us into their so-called big tent. If we don't work together to build a major new party that works for all of us, we'll continue to suffer together. That couldn't be said better. Everybody, thanks to Paula Jean Swearingen for coming on and for telling the truth about the Democratic Party and for joining the People's Party, because that's the only hope we have right now electorally. That's for sure. The Justice Democrats and the progressives getting elected inside the party is a complete failure. So thank you so much again, Paula Jean. We'll see you next time. Our live shows are back. August 4th, we're in Burbank. August 7th, we're in Chicago. We're going to Portland. We're going to Boston. We're going to everywhere. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for tickets.